welcome to how to find the derivative using power rule. So let's say we have a function called p of x, which is equal to x to the power of n, where n is any integer. And let's say we have a function p prime of x, which is the derivative of p of x, and let's say that is equal to n times x to the power of n minus 1. And this is called the power rule. And so what we do is we multiply x by n and put x to the power of n minus 1. And so it's really the simplest rule. So let's go ahead and do some examples. Let's say we have a function f of x is equal to x squared, and we want to find f prime of x. So what is n? N is equal to 2, therefore we have 2 times x. And what is n? Well, n is 2 minus 1. And what is 2 times x? Well, that's 2x. And what is 2 minus 1? And 2 minus 1 is 1. And so we can also say 2x. And so therefore we could say the derivative of x squared is 2x. And so what if we have something slightly more complicated? Not that much more complicated, but a little bit more complicated. So we have the function g of x is equal to 3x squared plus 2x plus 5. And now we can say g prime of x. Well, all we have to do is follow our rule, because we can add each derivative to one another. This is called the sum rule, I believe. I may be mistaken, but you know, I guess just take my word for it. So we have 2 times 3x to the power of 2 minus 1 plus 1 times 2, because remember there's a 1 here, so we multiply 1 by 2, and then we have, I should have put 2x, hold on, 1 times 2x to the power of 1 minus 1, which we know is 0, and then plus 5 times x to the power of 0. And now let's simplify, right? So we have a function g prime of x is equal to 6x. Oops, I forgot the equal sign. It's kind of important, just slightly. 6x to the power of 1 plus, so we have 1 minus 1, which is equal to 0, and anything to the power of 0 but 0 is equal to 1. And so we can go ahead and say 1 times 2, and so that's going to be equal to 2, and then plus 5, x0. And we know that x to the power of 0 is just 0 unless it's 0. And so we can go ahead and say that plus 0. But we don't really need to write plus 0, so let's simplify this even further and say g of x prime is equal to 6x plus 2. And so to save yourself some time, if the function is either to the power of x to the power of 1 or a constant such as 5, well, we can immediately say that any constant, no matter what it is equal to 0. So we could say pi equals 0, e equals 0, etc. Any constant is equal to 0, or derivative is equal to 0. And then same thing for, well, not necessarily the same thing, but we'd say that x to the power of 1 is equal to 1, 2x to the power of 1 is equal to 2, etc. And so we can really say that, use those rules to our advantage. And if it's not something like that, then we can just use regular power rule, which is stated up here. And that's basically it. It's really not a complicated rule.